Welcome back to Experts About Nothing.
Ooh, spicy!
A man!
Audio Jungle.
Dearest gentle experts.
Welcome back to Experts About Nothing.
Welcome back. It's me, Lady Chandrasekhar Smoothyton of Winthropshire.
And me, Lady Pisu, Filter Coffee Ton of Valiant Shire.
Please only refer to us by these names from here on out.
Please never refer to me as this from ever on out.
If you couldn't tell, we're on our Bridgerton kick. Everyone is so hyped up on the show, and rightfully so. Okay, so the names, if you want to do your Bridgerton name, you need to find the TikTok sound.
So it's a lady or lord, then your middle name, then it's the last drink you drank, add ton to the end of it, T-O-N,
Ton.
of the first part of your street name, and add shire to the end of that.
And you will have a hilarious name. And,
yeah, especially if you're Indian, because a lot of us don't
I
have
know,
legit
it's like
ass middle
Lady
names.
Chandrasekhar.
Yeah, it's like
I don't even have
your
a middle
dad's
name.
first
It
name.
doesn't even make sense. Anywho, we both finished Bridgerton season 2.
Yes, I binged it in 2 days.
I stayed up all night. Okay, I literally would be so hype to get into my bed at the end of the day, like running into my bed at like 10, and I binged it also in like 3 days, but I stayed up so late. I finished the show at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday when I literally had to wake up the next morning at 7 and run a bunch of errands before work. I was on a whole different vibe, and as we know, I don't like to stay up late, so it's really wild that I did this. Frankly, the show was so good. Season 2 hit so uniquely, you guys.
And I think a large part of it, for, you know, anyone that's been under a rock, are the two female South Asian, South Indian leads.
The Sharma sisters. Yeah,
Yes.
they're so gas. And also, we're going to drop some spoilers, so if you haven't watched season 2, first of all, stop listening to this and watch it.
It's gas, fire, and flames, quote Prachi.
Yes, and literally go watch it, but also skip ahead. But, okay, I want to talk about the romance first.
Okay.
Because literally, oh my godula, the slow burn of this season. I know everyone was pissed that there weren't enough steamy scenes because the first season was all steam. And I'm here for the steam. I wish there was
more steam. Yeah, I know.
Just wanting so much
Yeah,
more.
it was like the beginning of the 6th episode. They had their first kiss or something.
Yeah, everyone's just like screaming at the TV, like, make out! And like, they just wouldn't. They would just breathe and look at each other.
Yeah, it was the breathing
It's the breathing part.
They would be like so close to one another, and
My heart is like pounding.
I know, there
for
were many
them.
points where I was like, body's having a
I was
reaction.
sweating.
to
I was
this.
laughing. I was crying. It was crazy. It was so crazy. It was just enough steam to make you lose your shit. And like, they did that so well. The chemistry between Anthony and Kate was wild. I go berserk for shit like that, and I was going berserk. Like, I literally was giddy in my bed. I was just like, oh my god! Like, I felt like I was like a child. And Anthony? Hot. They did him so dirty season 1 with those sideburns, and then they said, we're gonna be Jack.
I watched an interview, and those sideburns are just real sideburns.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he cut them on his second.
But like, literally, they were like, you're gonna get super muscular, and you're gonna remove these sideburns, or shave them off, I guess, and you're gonna be hot as shit. Scene 1, I was like, oh my god, this man is so hot, and Kate is so hot. Every time her hair was down,
In a braid even? Oh my god.
I was like, the woman was literally too stunned to speak. Like, actually, me.
I know, when she was like getting ready for bed, not her looking like she's attending a wedding.
Literally,
as she's going to bed.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
And Edwina, they complimented each other so well because Kate was like that serious, brooding character, and Edwina was like so cute. And
I loved the way that she stood up for herself at the end. I think it was so mature Everything she did, even when she was helping the queen control her husband.
That scene was so
he
cute.
was lucid.
Yeah. I love how they gave both sisters like a significant arc. You know what I mean?
I was scared that she would just be the oblivious young sister the whole time.
Yeah.
Basically, near the end, I was afraid her role would be sidestepped. But
Yeah.
I liked how they continued her anger through, even when her sister got hurt, she still had pain in her from the betrayal that she had felt. And I like how they had a conversation even after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought the reactions were just realistic. They weren't.
Yeah, it was like complex. It's not like you hate Kate or you are annoyed with Edwina. You're kind of rooting for both of them, and you're like, this is just a crappy situation.
Yeah. Once they like laid out the situation, I was like,
It's a complicated situation.
And especially because the whole time watching it, it's like South Asian, South Indian girl, you're like, this is a nightmare.
I know.
A nightmare.
It is
Oh
a
my
nightmare.
God.
But literally, what a beautiful show.
It's amazing to see someone that's not only South Indian, but also like a darker skinned South Indian being so desirable on a show.
I think that's why it was just so iconic to watch. Just seeing her be desirable. Literally, Anthony was like animalistically into her, like obsessed. I love seeing that for a type of female that we don't normally get to see in that light in Bollywood or Hollywood. We don't have that many super famous Bollywood leads of darker skin either. It's usually the lighter skin girl or like the North Indian, not the South Indian.
I mean, I think that's why Never Have I Ever was also so big. Just seeing that is so refreshing, but also reaffirming in that we have a place in society. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, and it's not the traditional token place that you would think.
Yeah.
The like conservative Indian girl. You know what I mean? I loved she was sensual, she was confident. All of those facets of her were so real, and it was also just like so dope to see this in a period drama. I mean, that's what Bridgerton's entire thing is. Like, we're just kind of every type of race, every type of person is shown in this world, which is really awesome. So it's like was so cool to see Indians shown in this world. Something that we also talked about that I loved was how they were actual Indian immigrants that came from India. So a lot of the chai scene and the haldi scene, like those things made
Literally
sense.
having like marigolds in the back and having traditional Indian decor.
They're Indian immigrants and like they like
bangles.
Yeah.
I appreciated that. You know, I think there's some feedback from the South Asian community that like maybe there's some discrepancies. Some of the phrases they used, or maybe like where they're from not matching with the language they're speaking, or like the way they're saying sister versus the way
Didi instead of Appa,
but then they're saying Appa, and then you were just like confused how they kind of
were like mixing a lot of different subcultures within India together.
Yeah. And all of that is definitely something that could have been researched a little bit better on the, you know, production writer end. But I do think that what it was like a huge statement. Yeah. And it meant a lot.
In a huge show and in a fun show. Like, I kind of loved how it was
one that everyone is watching.
Yeah, everyone's watching it, and it's a show that people just love to like binge and talk about and have fun watching, and that's exactly what we all felt, and it was like just so cool to see two Indian leads in that, and
can't wait to see more of it.
I know, apparently Canthony's gonna be in season 3 too, and I am gonna lose it. They're gonna have a baby.
That is gonna
not a mixed Indian baby.
I'm so excited for this season, but also everything else that's happening in the Indian community right now. I feel like this is really we're all up and up.
People are just on the rise, and I'm so inspired constantly.
So anyway,
we
today
have a special episode with a special guest.
In case you caught it in the intro.
How could you not? Welcome, one P-Tot Totage, aka Prashant Toteja.
Thank you. I honestly thought that this would come like 20 episodes later, so I'm shocked and honored to be on this with two icons and legends.
Aww! Shut up.
Nice. Thank you so much.
No, we had to do the P intro because we're dropping the name P.
dropping all day.
Left and right in all these pods.
Yeah.
So who are you, P?
Who am I? That's a good question. So I am Diksha's boyfriend.
Ooh,
Correct.
spicy.
I guess that's
the word.
That's the
The
place where we can
terminology.
start.
You know I never use the word.
I know. Diksha never uses the word.
But yeah, we met a couple years ago. We both live in New York
Going
City.
into it. We're getting into it.
I also live in New York City.
Did you meet 4 years ago, or did you meet 5?
Well, we met in 2017.
We met May 2017.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we met almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
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 But yeah, we're both in the city right now. I went to University of Michigan, graduated in
Go
May.
blue! Go blue!
Yep.
Bleed blue.
Yep. Hold the school very near and dear to my heart. What else? I grew up in Connecticut, so I always wanted to be back on the East Coast, and New York City is the closest, biggest city.
Place to be.
It's the place to be.
Yeah.
And been here since graduation. Went back home during the pandemic to Connecticut. Was living at my
Classic.
parents' place for a
Right.
little while.
Classic.
And just moved back last summer. So just been
Fire.
vibing and chilling out here. It's been a great time.
Fun intro. Good job. You're born for this.
Yeah,
darling.
honestly.
This is my first podcast, so
Today's episode is going to be about Priya.
How P and D came from P&G, baby. That's my favorite tagline. We're gonna spill the tea. I'm gonna facilitate the convo. But yeah, P is honestly, he's a huge part of Diksha's life, but also my life. Because he's a good friend.
I'm going to
hey,
cry.
that's really sweet.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, you too. You too, of course.
We spend so much time together. And so I think we're gonna start...
Without me also.
Yeah, like literally without Diksha. And we're gonna start off about obviously the relationship, and everyone wants to know the gossip. I don't know, I always want to know that
The
shit
goss.
too.
Everyone does.
Everyone wants to know
It's the tea,
goss.
the
but
spice.
also the friendships, and like how it's so nice when a significant other actually becomes your friend's friends.
I'm extremely grateful for that.
So it hits different.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so to start off,
We're diving in.
how did you guys meet?
I'm going to let you talk, P. It's your episode.
Okay, sure. So we mentioned this before. We met in May of 2017 at an internship in Ohio. For a little bit of context, Diksha went to University of Virginia. I went to University of Michigan. We're completely in two different worlds.
Yeah.
And so this was our junior year.
Yeah, it's a
intern.
junior year
yeah,
internship.
the big internship. Yeah.
Yep. That's effectively where we met. So the first day was orientation, where a group of 20 of us were in this little room. We were going around one by one, giving an introduction of who we were, the school that you went to, fun fact about yourself or whatever.
Classic
Classic.
icebreaker.
Yeah.
First day intros,
Yeah.
we were standing up, each of us individually.
Yeah. So I was with one of my other friends who came from University of Michigan. At least we were kind of like tag teaming this orientation. When it was Diksha's turn to go, she got up and she was like, "Oh, I went to University of Virginia." I was like, "Oh, okay, that's pretty neat." Like one of my best friends from high school also went to University of Virginia. Maybe she knows him. And I was just trying to like make friends because like we're in Ohio. It's not like the prettiest or the dream place that everyone like expects to be.
Yeah.
But so everyone was out there like trying to make friends with these people, but obviously it kind of gives like first day of college vibes where
Yeah.
there's a little bit of desperation. But it wasn't just Diksha, it was everyone there. There was like other people from Michigan who I'd never met before.
Some of our good friends.
Some of our like
yeah.
friends who were still very close
Still
with
very close.
To this day. Was just trying to like
Like you're trying to be like, okay, this person seems cool. Like, I wanna
Yes,
be friends.
I
You're
was
like
doing that.
keeping tabs.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm doing the
doing that.
mental calcs while people
Definitely.
do that. Yeah,
Exactly. After orientation, we were like heading out to go get laptops or something, and we were in the elevator, and Diksha and I were in the elevator together, and I was like, "Oh, UVA, let me just ask her about this," and I was like, "Oh, you go to UVA, right?" And she was
Yeah.
like, "Yeah," and then I was like, "Oh, do you know my buddy?" She said,
No, you are missing a huge part
Okay,
of this
okay.
story.
Okay.
What am I missing?
We were walking out of the conference room, okay, and I was walking a little bit behind them, okay, and this was end of first day. Pete turns around, literally pivots on his way out, and goes, "Diksha, right?" And I was like, yeah. Yeah, that's me.
Okay, fine, but I don't think I was like shooting a shot there.
No,
I was,
no.
like, yeah, it was just
It was but maybe a subconscious shot was shot. Like maybe you consciously weren't, but you're like Diksha.
Diksha.
yeah. So that was basically day one.
The initial interaction.
That was the initial interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So then basically all summer, our friends were trying to ship us, like our other internship friends.
Mm-hmm.
We became a huge family really fast. Like within the first 2 weeks, we were all hanging out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they were trying... Of course, they see a few Indian people and they try to find a match within them. I want to say it took maybe 5 weeks. Like, we would, like, see each other at work and, like, hang out. Work in internship pods, right? Like, so all of our intern friends would all work together. We didn't have too many meetings, so we'd all just, like, sit for hours. And, like,
we'd always get lunch together every day.
yeah,
Like,
it was
an
a
entire
big group setting, though. Yeah, so it's, like, all 20 of us. And then one day, we had, like, a long sit-down convo because all our other friends disintegrated, and then we just didn't have meetings for a while. I feel like we got to really know each other at that point. And then fast forward, throughout the summer, we just kept getting closer and closer.
Mm-hmm. Let me tell you my 2 cents.
Ooh.
So, Diksha, well, I think this was maybe like a couple weeks in, like 3 or 4 weeks in.
Yeah.
And we were like doing a catch-up text because I was in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we're like, who's cool? Are you making friends? Like, what's the vibe? And she name dropped. She's just like, yeah, I've been like there's this one guy, P-Tot. And I was like, what is the tea? And she was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, there might be vibes, but there might not be vibes. So I don't know. Send the profile. We have to do the stalk. So I already stalked you like week 3 of this internship, probably.
What did you check?
Probably your like Facebook, I think. So
Also, I don't think my Facebook was up to date.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't, but everyone has, like, tagged in this photo.
no, but we
Yeah.
love that. Honestly, when someone's not active on Facebook, green flag.
Yeah, green flag, check,
Green
check,
flag.
and check.
Yeah, I was like, well, he doesn't seem to have a pop in Facebook. It's old as shit, so good for you.
Mystery man.
Yeah, so I already had the initial vibe, and then we were all kind of like clocking in every week. We'd be like, any updates? Okay, so when did things I don't know, like explode?
Yes. So I would say the last 2 weeks of the internship, we were hanging out a lot. We were hanging out one-on-one a lot. I actually told P-Dog that I liked him first.
Because she's an independent feminist woman.
It's time to shoot your shot.
Yeah,
okay?
you shot your shot.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to have a good summer.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to shoot my shot, whatever. And frankly, I had none of my friends around me to check me at all, and I was never embarrassed.
No, but anytime you would say what you were going to do, we would be like, absolutely do that.
And then I told P, I was like, hey, I kind of like you. He was like, hey, listen, I don't know you. And that was the vibe. He literally was
said, I don't know you.
He literally was like, he was being nice about it. He was like,
yeah.
Right, I don't think there's been enough time. I don't think we can make this something real right now.
Also, this was like week 10 out of 12 that we were like just starting to hang out a lot more. So that was like exponentially like getting to know each other better. But
yeah,
there was actually
pivot
like
point.
not enough time. Like there was 2 more weeks before you were going to go back to Virginia, and then I was going to go back to Michigan. And then what?
Yeah, then what?
And then what? So then, after the internship, it was kind of sad. Said bye, and
Pause. I have another aside.
Oh.
Okay, so I remember another pivotal moment in this situation where it was midsummer's weekend at UVA. So there's like one weekend where everyone at UVA comes back to UVA and you just have a great time for like 3 days. And so
oh yeah,
all of our friends who were like on the East Coast, we all went back. So me and Prach drove from the Carolinas. And so Diksha didn't come because she was already in Ohio and like didn't want to fly out. And she was feeling bummed and we were bummed. We're like, damn, can't see our girl. And then that was the weekend where she said that she sent this text, and it was like a very like dramatic weekend.
oh yes, because we were out. Oh, okay. I guess we should say this story. Man, now I'm being exposed. Oh.
Yeah, I'm exposing you a little bit, but this was like the weekend.
So basically, we had a mid-internship. Like we had to do these presentations, and after everyone was done, we had this barbecue. One of our friends like was hosting it, and he had like a lounge and stuff in the place he was subletting over the summer. We get there, and then I really think there's vibes, but this man is not chatting. Like, okay, well, this is dumb. And then by the end of the night, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go home, whatever. Then I sent an aggro text, and I was like, I don't know if you're feeling vibes, but I am, so. And then I forgot I sent this text, woke up startled AF. I saw one text message, Prashant Toteja, and I was like, oh, what did I do? And then, I don't know. Oh, yes. And then
It was pretty late at night. Like, I don't think I saw it until the morning.
And then basically Pete had asked me to dinner. And then I was like, ooh, a date. I've never been on a date at that point. And then I'm like out here, I got ready for dinner. Pete stood me up.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wait, that's insane.
That's
Explain
what
yourself
happened.
right now.
Right now. You're almost canceled.
Okay, first of all, wow, this is crazy. What's going on here?
This is...
Let's take a step back for a second.
Okay, well, these are made some crazy allegations right now, so you need to explain.
Yeah, okay, so I think from my perspective, like, first of all, text came in super late. I think I was asleep by that point. Saw it maybe at like 9 or 10 in the morning. I had made plans with the person who I was living with at the time to go to the mall in the evening.
To go shopping. Okay, 4 watches.
Okay. We were a little excited because, you know, this was the first internship. We were, you know, like,
making your own
paycheck,
money.
like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
So you wanted to go treat ourselves thinking that we were high flyers or big ballers, you know?
High flyers.
So we were going to the mall and we were just going to go get a little token. Just like a little, you know, we got through our presentations or whatever. But I got this text and, like, this was a little startling to me, too. Not because, like, I didn't feel the same way, because obviously, like, I also was enjoying getting to know you better. So in that moment in time, I don't think I really registered that this was like I guess like an offer that would mean so much. You know what I mean?
Like, you didn't think you asking her to dinner was that big of a deal?
Yeah, I thought it, like, I don't know. Maybe I was just thinking, like, oh, well, like, if it happens today, fine. If it happens tomorrow, fine.
But
you know, it's just, we'll just go hang out and,
let's get today.
Okay, also, I hadn't really ever been on a date before that point also.
We're
So
doing
it's
the
like,
2 newbies.
yeah, so, you know,
Miscommunicado.
a little miscommunication. But, like, long story short, I was at the mall a couple hours before, like, this dinner plan, but things were running late. We were, like, stuck in traffic getting home. And because of the traffic, I'm pretty sure it was, like, pouring rain that
I
day.
had to work up the courage to be like, hey, so like, we're still getting dinner today. I'm embarrassed. And then Pete was like, hey, actually, so sorry, I'm at the mall.
I don't know. I think I was just a little overwhelmed with how fast everything was going. And no, it wasn't meant to be like I'm purposely ghosting her. That's not the intention whatsoever, and that's not like.
I think it was just too oblivious, or he was oblivious, and
there it is.
there it is.
Classic.
Oblivious boy. Ugh. Anyway, so when did the trip?
Thanks, guys. I just came on here and just get gaslit.
Get roasted.
Absolutely.
Okay. Wait, I feel like Midsummer's was the weekend that dinner situation happened, and then didn't something exciting happen after that?
Yeah, and then the week after, I feel like that's when we started getting to know each other, actually started hanging out more one-on-one. That kind of just took us through the end of the internship. Near the end, like, we kind of knew, like, we already had this conversation when I said, you know, I like P, and he's like,
Whoa, wait. Let's just talk about the last day where we were saying goodbye. Like,
I know, like, so we were saying goodbye, and it was pretty sad, but I think me mentally, I was already prepared. I was like, all right, see ya. Like, it's been a good time.
Said, I'm the big baller now.
But that goodbye hug was like, ooh.
It
was like
it was just sad.
Like,
it was sad,
is that when you clicked that you were like,
yeah, it was like,
I'm feeling vibes. Sad bye.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We parted ways, and I was like, okay, sayonara, see you never.
Another aside, we were texting about it when I was at the airport leaving North Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, I'm bummed, but, like, I knew this was going to happen. It was very much that
I was
vibe,
very much like, fine.
Yeah.
I knew this was coming around. I'm, like, packing up, and P and them leave one day before me. I have family in Ohio, so I was spending some time with them. Then he texts me out the cut the next day.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, that's interesting. So then we continued chatting through the rest of the summer. We come back to school, so now we're both back at our respective schools. Basically, I'm like telling all my friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of still talking to this guy, not quite sure what's the deal.
It's been an entire month.
It's been a whole month.
Maybe we FaceTimed 2 times during that period.
FaceTime a couple times, really
for
long
like
FaceTimes.
4 hours each.
4 hours each. P initiated the FaceTimes. And then end of the first week of school, I was like, okay, I'm just going to ask him what this is. So we were going into, like, our senior years in our respective schools, and just, I don't know, it was a weird time to start a relationship. I kind of was just like, hey, what are we doing here? Because we're chatting all the time. We're texting very often. we're on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Still, like, we're still FaceTiming. I'm at school now. And I just needed some clarity on the situation.
Yeah. Ask for what you want.
So yeah, I asked, what's up? We hopped on one call. We were like, okay, let's like take a few days to think about it. I was nervous, but then P was not nervous because like it was good news. I like wanted it to be a relationship, whatever.
I think we took 24 hours and then
we took 24 hours, like Wednesday to Friday turnaround.
Yeah.
Chatted on a Friday and made it official.
Oh my god, what was what was that convo?
I mean, P was like, hey, so what's up? Like, how's your day? And I was like, what do you mean? Like, this was a planned conversation.
She was like,
to talk
the deadline is now.
Yeah, I was like, this is a planned conversation to talk about one thing and one thing only.
I actually can, like, hear this convo because the personalities come across so
She's definitely not
clearly.
like a beat around the bush type of gal.
He's like, hey, how was your day? And she's like, right, so,
But I think I was like, yeah, I'm down also. Like, I think that we can make this work.
Meanwhile, I was so nervous because I was like, oh, I think he's going to, like, end up choosing not to. Like, a boy, senior year of college, is not going to want to start a long-distance relationship with someone he just knew for a summer.
I mean, yeah, we got to know each other super well, so I obviously did not want to end that right there.
Aww. Amazing.
And now,
honestly, it's such a, like, it's a really, like, realistic but sweet relationship start. Meet cute.
I don't think it's not like a traditional story. I feel like it's kind of unique.
It's very unique in that a lot of these like situationships happen frequently to be, or like they happen, but then two people are never on the same page to commit to something and follow through.
Yeah.
So I think that's wow.
Yeah, and this was my first relationship, and this was P's second relationship. So frankly, I was like, I have zero experience with this. Jumping into a long distance relationship as the first one was very different, but also I had zero expectations and zero experiences to be like, this is not going to work out. So
yeah. And I feel like it's so refreshing because there was just no like games.
Yeah. I mean, I think there were games.
I feel like the games were like P just being oblivious and maybe a little stressed out because he was like, what's happening? Like, you know, and you're like also just a more straightforward person. So I feel like you're just going to kind of cut to the chase. Yeah. And that's the vibe. And P's kind of still like, you know, a couple steps behind processing vibes. But like that's normal. But then he was not being like fuckboy vibes, you know?
I'm just getting gaslit. Thank you.
This is not, I'm giving you compliments. Because literally I feel like other people are always just like, I'm like weighing my options or like saying like dumb shit like that.
I agree.
Rude.
I think in this domain I was definitely a couple steps behind.
We were also in the age group where that is the common.
The culture, yeah. That's why I literally, okay, let me tell you, as a friend who never met P, and like now obviously I know you, but it was like, oh, random internship mans who's like normal, comes from a big school, has groups of friends. Like, I don't know, like those characteristics usually result in girl getting played, or like that's at least what we've seen over and over and over again with our friends at that point. I was getting nervous. I don't know, like I was glad Diksha was in the headspace.
I was gonna get hurt.
Yes, I was nervous about her getting hurt but also she was in a very clear headspace where at least at the end of the internship you were super rational and you were like, I'm not expecting anything from this, whatever. And I was like, okay. But then when you guys were talking still, I was like, like skepticism vibes because I just didn't trust boys in this age group, senior year of college. Like,
I mean, me neither.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like, is he being honest? Like, I was just getting worried, and now that I know you, I was like, yeah, like, he was being authentic.
I think after spending time with him, I was like, no, I think I could tell
you were very confident. You were, like, you didn't give any vibes that he would be sus. But all of us were sus. Because we were like, we've never met a non-sus boy. Yeah. So I was like...
I mean, you guys at that point hadn't even talked to him, you know?
No, yeah. So. Like, I literally never even had a phone conversation with you. When you guys made it official, up until that point, we never spoke. Which is kind of crazy. Like, for your best friend to be in a relationship with someone you've never even talked to on the phone. Crazy. I remember the first time I actually spoke to P, but it was like a brief, like, 10-second interaction. Was you guys were on FaceTime. I think like the week or two after you made it official, and I don't know, a bunch of us like busted into your apartment and we were just like making a scene, and then we came into your room and you guys were like talking, and that was the first time I was like, hi, and then like that's it. Like, it was like a very like brief thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad there were no bad intentions, because then you would have been canceled immediately.
Okay, so now I guess we can kind of go into the first times we visited one another.
Yeah.
And how the first meetings of friends went.
Yeah.
So who visited first? I visited you
came
first.
to Michigan first.
Yes. So I hopped on a flight, went to Michigan.
Also crazy.
And it was super fun. I was very nervous because I was flying out of Charlottesville Airport, which is so literally the smallest flight.
Literally like a private plane airport.
Yeah, and flew to Ann Arbor, took a flight, a bus, the whole thing. I don't know. I this was the first time I was ever doing anything like this, so I was pretty scared, I would say.
Yeah. No, I remember, so I came to the bus stop because, like, you took the flight into Detroit, and then there's a bus that comes right to campus.
Yeah.
Which is the best option to get to campus. So I met you at the bus stop, and obviously thrilled to see you. I remember I took your suitcase, and it was a decent walk. Like, it was roughly, like, a little over a mile, maybe a mile and a half to where my house was, where myself and 5 of my other close buddies were living. And we had stopped off to get, like, some snacks and some, like, drinks or whatever. Then we were walking back, and I was like, hey, by the way, not only are all of these guys here, but we also have a bunch of our other friends who are also over right now. So, you know, good luck.
So
but I was like, don't worry about it. I could tell she was...
got dinner, we opened the door, and actually 12 of your closest friends were, like, just sitting in the living room vibing.
Yeah.
And it was, like, an immediate
in, like, a
silence.
circle.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, God. Okay.
Yeah.
But honestly, all your friends were really nice. They were really nice to me from, like, day one. Yeah. So it was really easy to get along. And you had a good mix of, like, girls and guys. So I didn't feel I was just with the bros or anything at any point.
Yeah.
But you definitely were not as animated as you are, like, speaking right now. Like, you
No.
were very quiet.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like over that weekend,
It takes
became
a
more
minute.
of myself.
Like, you can't be your 100% true full personality when you first meet a full group of new people.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and
I
you
feel
don't
like,
have your friends with you.
Yeah.
No, totally. And, like, you know that you're kind of under the spotlight also.
Yeah.
Or at least you feel like you are because...
Everyone's, like, clocking you.
Exactly, because they also heard about you, and they were
Yeah.
just like, who's this mystery girl?
And I talked to a couple of your friends. Like, I talked to Nand on FaceTime before.
Yeah.
I talked to Jan because you and Jan were sharing a room at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. I had a great weekend. And frankly, it was always depressing.
Yeah, we went to the pumpkin patch. We took some fun pictures.
It was really a wholesome weekend.
Those were the cute pictures where I freaked out.
Yep, and that was my Instagram release.
Okay,
Yeah.
also, we have, like, this one speakeasy in Ann Arbor. The Last Word.
Oh, yeah.
And we got our first date there.
That was our first
So
actual
it was a date
date
that should have happened in Ohio.
Yeah.
So it was
But
our
you
first
made
day
up for
after we
it.
started fully dating.
Yeah.
Aw, that's sweet.
But that was that. And then we can talk about when P came to visit Virginia. So P actually ended up coming in January, right?
Yeah, so you guys were basically having this ISA formal.
Yeah, so we had a classic Indian Student Association formal.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yep, and I was like, it'd be really fun if you came that weekend. Mind you, a lot of our friends were actually at a dance competition, so a lot of our guy friends weren't there at the time, but most of my girls were there. And I think we actually met before, like, the actual event. We went and got drinks at like a brewery.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
World of Beer, right?
World of Beer, literally.
Wait,
World of
why
Beer.
do I have an image that, like, you came to Survivor Hour?
Did you come to Survivor?
I think I just missed Survivor Hour.
But didn't you came, like, you landed and then you, like, came and met us all out, right? Like,
Yeah.
I remember,
No, we
like,
did.
the first time I actually first saw you in person was, like,
That was
at Billmore. We were, like,
Oh.
Prachi had, like, gone with Dickie to pick you guys up, and then you came to the bar immediately, and we were all like, hey.
Yeah, and I think that's like the classic meeting you when you're out setting where you don't really chat too much, especially because in college you're just kind of dancing around like immediately. But then we like had a more sit down meal at like drink at World of Beer. And that was when we actually sat down and like he met everyone and we actually chatted a little bit. But yeah, I felt really good after that interaction because all my friends gave me good feedback about you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I was sort of under the spotlight too, but I didn't feel really that nervous at the same time because you had told me so many stories about everyone and like all good things, so like I felt pretty good about it. So.
Yeah.
But also, legendary weekend, incredibly fun.
Yeah.
I also got a chance to see my buddy from high school, which was really nice.
That was cool. It was a full circle moment, I would say.
Yeah. But ISA Formal was super fun. You guys hosted something at your place that night, and I think that's when I met, like, literally everyone.
The whole squad.
Literally everyone.
Yeah, extended squad.
And we took a lot of fun pictures. We all got dressed up. I remember
Yeah.
put on my
Indian
best
clothes.
suit. Yeah, it was overall a really fun weekend. And I remember going back to Michigan. You ever get that feeling after you do something extremely fun, or you go on a crazy fun vacation, and then that following week you're just like sad.
Yeah, you're just lingering sadness.
Yeah, and you're not really sure why, but it's just like, that was a really great weekend.
Yeah.
Not sure when I'm gonna have that next type of thing.
Yeah.
And then obviously the feelings of like missing you, like when the next. I don't think we had planned out the next time we were gonna see each other. So it was funny because I came back. My roommates picked up on that quickly, so naturally I got roasted pretty much the first 3 days. They were just so like, sad. "Oh, remember when Tot got super sad because he left Diksha and did this?"
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god! Girls are so different. We're like
so different.
We'll have a girls' night.
Yeah, don't worry. You'll see him very soon.
I think I was fine. I was sad maybe a little bit, but I'm very much a nerd, so I just kind of
time
was like,
to start
time to go office hours.
Yeah.
No time to waste.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But that was great. And so basically we were long distance for 2 years. I had moved to Ohio. P was finishing up his last year at Michigan. And then we moved to New York City. I basically got a job in the city. Luckily, I lucked out because my best friends had already lived there. And P was going to move there. So it was really kind of a no-brainer for me when I was leaving Ohio, which you all know. I didn't love it. So I had to get out. And so it was kind of pretty clear for me at that point that I wanted to look in New York and basically exclusively New York. And it worked out really good. So, yeah.
I mean, we also, when we moved to New York, we overlapped like almost perfect timing.
It was perfect.
Yeah.
Basically, me and P moved in
both in July.
within
June,
3
July.
weeks of one another. And I actually came to New York, stayed with Priya, and P stayed with Priya too when I was interviewing my final round for my job here. And that was like another fun weekend. I feel like Priya hadn't seen P in like 2 years at that point.
I feel like that was when we started to be friends, you know? Because every time prior was just brief interactions, group settings.
Yeah.
And I never spent like one-on-one time with P. But that weekend was like so fun, and you guys were literally, it was just the three of us in the apartment like the whole time because Ashi was gone that weekend too. So we just like did so many things together, and I was like
literally explored the city for the first time together.
We went to your friend's place on Rockefeller Island.
Roosevelt
Island.
Yes.
Rockefeller Island. From Roosevelt Island.
Yeah, it was honestly so fun, and I left that weekend being like, damn, if I could live a life like this, I would be so happy.
And I have to say, like, I was a little nervous. I remember I called Toe. I was like, I don't know, like, they don't, like, you guys were still long distance at that point, and I was like, I'm gonna be in the apartment. Should I, like, make my own plans and so that they can have, like, their time? And, like, I'd never spent that much time with Pete.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know, like, maybe they just want their couple-y time, because I didn't know your, like, full dynamic as a couple yet, because I hadn't spent that much time with you. And she was like, just feel it out. If, you know, whatever, like, you can just plan some stuff, but if you're catching the vibe that, like, they want to be alone, then I'd, like, just yeet. And I was like, okay. But we literally spent every minute of the day together.
Every second of that weekend as a trio.
And I would just be like, I would read the room and I was like, should I leave? And then I was like, no, it's fun. So then that was the weekend where I was like, oh my gosh, this would be same vibe. I was like, if we all were in the same place, this would be so much fun. Also, I was like, P's gonna move here anyway, and now I feel like I can actually like have a friendship with him.
I know, that's why I left feeling so excited. I was like, great. One of my best friends, boyfriend, in the same place, we're all vibing in the city, everyone's getting along. I was like, this is my dream. And then fast forward a couple months after that, moved out of Ohio, and then we were done with long distance just for a little while though before the pandemic hit.
Yeah, I think we had 6 to 8 months maybe.
Like, yeah, exactly.
We did live 8 to 10 minutes
pretty close
away from each other,
so we were able to see each other a lot more.
2 minutes if I chose to run to your place.
Okay, those runs were like the craziest
Prashant
thing.
would actually be scared of me or something. He would lie and be like, oh yeah, I left. And then he wouldn't leave and for another 10 minutes. And I'd be like, like it's only like 10-minute walk. Like, where is he? And so then he would book it. Start running across the streets to get to my apartment. And I'm like, why did you...
I'd come in wheezing, in need of the inhaler,
like, why
sweating.
Does he
And she'd be like, why are you sweating? I was like, it was the walk up.
Literally looks so frenzied walking in. Anyway, yeah, now we're here.
Okay, but I mean, a little even more context, right? Like pandemic, we come back last summer.
Yeah.
And now I'm living with a bunch of other people who are like in my like core friend group my senior year of college.
Yeah.
And you're also living with a bunch of your friends who were like your core friend group in your senior year of college.
Really lucked out there.
And I think that like our friend groups get along like really well, which is awesome. It makes me really happy. And
I think that's one of my favorite parts.
It's like actually wild. Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, wow, this is just crazy that like literally the other week, okay guys, I got booted from this apartment because we had like maintenance issues and I had to leave the apartment for the day. I currently don't have like an actual office building. So then I was like, P, I need to work in your apartment building. And his roommate was there too. So it was literally just me and P's roommate alone in the apartment vibing. And then I was like, this just feels so comfortable. I feel like that's such a rare, like that means that like we're all actually friends.
And literally P cleaned up the whole place.
Oh my god, it
straightened up, opened the blinds. It was like, this is good sun. This is a good amount of sunlight.
The apartment was in need of a clean, so.
I mean, it was great. I was like, you have a standing desk, really nice chair. I was like, this is better than my setup, so I'm vibing.
But yeah, the comfortability definitely grew over the years. And now I'm like so grateful. Basically, I have two amazing friend groups now. P's friends and my friends who are now all our friends.
It just kind of like, it's crazy because if you think about backtracking to May of 2017, who would have thought from that initial interaction in the elevator, right? You would end up in New York City living with your college friends. I'm living with my college friends, and you know we're having a great time out here.
I know,
like literally growing up through our 20s here. Yeah. It's kind of crazy how things work out.
Whoa, he's getting
so emo. What the heck? Could cry.
So yeah, that's the story of me and P Dog.
I know. One of my favorites. Honestly, this whole episode is me just interjecting random commentary and roasting P. That's like what this whole episode was.
Yeah.
So this is why you guys didn't want to give me a script.
Yeah, there's
no script.
Unscripted, darling. Ad hoc. Okay, that's how we roll here.
Yeah.
Hopefully that made sense. I know it was a little bit of a longer story.
I mean, yeah. Well, now you guys have full context.
Now everyone knows the tea. I feel like a majority of our extended friends actually don't know like the details of how we met and everything. So
it's a fun story.
Amazing. All right. So this week we're going to do a themed favorite. We're going to do our favorite New York memory. But the caveat is that all three of us have to be present in that memory.
Well, it doesn't just have to be a New York memory, right?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't have to be
a favorite memory.
Favorite memory, but all three of us got to be there.
All three of us present.
Yeah.
Okay. P, you can do the honor since you're a guest.
Okay. So, your brother's wedding.
I forgot.
Wait.
I honestly didn't see that coming either.
Okay, the quick 30-second thing with that is
yeah.
well, actually, you talked about this on another pod, but the 30-second was, from my view, right, incredibly fun because I literally pulled up to Chicago, the suburbs of Chicago, and stayed in the same hotel room as Priya, Prachi, Ushi, and Avanti. And I totally just vibed there, and I had an amazing time. We were a squad. It was a great time.
It was actually so fun. I feel like we were sad that you were not there all the time because Diksha was doing a million things.
Yeah.
But we just had the best weekend. All the events were so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
Great vibes. That's true. That was a really fun memory. Do you have a specific part of the weekend that you thought was your favorite?
So, when we were doing that TikTok outside, that little TikTok dance.
Oh my god. Literally, let me tell you my reaction to this. I'm fully, this is before the reception,
This was
right?
cocktail hour, right?
Yeah, cocktail hour.
I was like, I'm in cocktail hour, and I'm like, where are my friends? They need to drink cocktails. Like, the best part of this event.
Oh, we were dancing.
I'm texting them in the group message. I was like, where are you guys? They were like, oh yeah, we're just running late. We're just finishing up, getting ready, coming soon. They come in, and then the next day, I'm like looking through the photos. They added me to their shared album because I'm in like 4 of those photos. And then see these videos. I'm like, what are these videos? I play them, and literally it's like a choreographed dance number outside. And I'm like, this is what they were doing during cocktail hour?
We filmed some TikToks, and that was actually so fun.
Yeah, it was like Doja.
Right? We did the get.
P still talks about this TikTok to this day.
I mean, it's fire. It was so fun.
Yeah. So I think that was just like an iconic moment.
That was an iconic moment. Dickie
Yeah.
wasn't even in it, but
I wasn't even there,
Yeah,
but I was
you were there
around.
for the weekend, so it counts, right?
it's
I was around.
It
That counts.
That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Preacha, do you have yours?
Yes, I have a specific memory. So it was the weekend that you guys first came to visit me, and we were staying in my apartment.
Yeah.
So we went to my friend's barbecue in Roosevelt Island. Then we tried to go to Dosa Man, which is this like infamous dosa cart in Washington Square Park.
Highly
Infamous?
recommend.
Famous.
Yeah.
Infamous? Famous. Oh.
No, infamous is like famous in a bad way.
Okay.
Oh.
No, you're right.
You're right.
Just famous and amazing in the best way.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so we have been, or like Diksha especially, had been fiending to go to this place.
I've seen this video on Facebook a million times, and I needed to see the
Dosa
Dosa Man
Man,
make
yes.
me the best dosa of my life.
So the vibe is that Dosa Man is up and at 'em until the batter runs out. Like, and you don't know when the hell that's
and
gonna be.
he comes, he announces when he's coming, like really early, like 4 a.m. in the morning. He posts on his Facebook page.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on his
And
and Insta. Yeah, and he's like, yeah, we'll be in the park today. We'll not be in the park today.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of just posts
Those
that
are the two
in the
caps.
8
Like,
a.m. on Saturday. So you need to be like alert on Saturday and kind of pivot your pants around
to go to
Dosa
Dosa Man. But he was in the park that day,
Yeah.
and we got there around like 2 or 3, I want to say. So it was nearing the end of the dosa batter. And I was like, damn, I hope we get it. I hope we get it. And we're all like in line, and then the dosa batter runs out, and we couldn't get the dosa.
It's
And
crazy.
we were so
in line
sad.
for 45 minutes.
Yeah, we were actually in line for so long.
I
It was
know.
very gutting. But then we had this long walk from literally Washington Square Park all the way back to the East Village, like Alphabet City, way far. I remember that day we walked like 30,000 steps or something insane, but that walk was so fun to me. Like, I was like, oh my god, we talked about like so many different topics, and then we were kind of like touring, and I was like, oh, this is where this is, this is where this is, and like I remember we stopped in a store, we did like some window shopping. I really liked that day, and the weather was great, so that was my favorite memory.
Oh my god, now my memory's beat compared to your
us home,
memory.
Nico.
What is it? It's okay.
Okay, mine's just kind of a really small thing, but I feel like we've done it multiple times, but we live really close to Hudson River Park, so this past summer, we would just have mini picnic sits, and we just have like a picnic blanket and just sit near the water around sunset time, and sometimes we'd like get Shake Shack and just sit there, and I feel like we've done that with multiple friends. Like, you were there when Tejo visited, you were there when Pranjali was here, like Abhi and you were there once.
Yeah,
and I
we
feel
did
like
it once when all of my friends came and visited too.
yeah, and I just feel like these are so peaceful, like they're peaceful park
it's
sits.
Like great.
We're like playing music and just hanging out, and I just love that because I think everyone's ending their weekend on such a high note. They're usually on Sundays, and it was just the best vibe and really simple memory. I'm a simple memory gal.
That's a great memory. I like that one.
Yeah, it's probably one of my favorite memories. Also because it was the first summer back since pandemic started.
I know. That's why they hit so different. I feel
Yeah.
like when you weren't able to see your friends for so long, just having any sort of quality time, and also the most aesthetic place.
Yes, such a beautiful
Feels
park.
so good.
But yeah.
That's awesome.
First P episode, check.
Yeah, this is the first one, but hopefully not the last.
Supposed to check.
Check. Did I do it right?
Yeah,
Did I
that
do
was
good?
great. Good job, P.
Yay!
All right.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.